Hello and welcome to Live with Holly. It is November 14th and it's a very special day. We are celebrating our 100th episode.
Woo! Yeah.
100 episodes today. So this idea started 100 weeks ago in a far off land of imagination. With green tea caffeination. And this is funny. I don't even know why it started, but I originally had the idea because if you are on my email update list, which you should be if you're not, by the way. So I had been creating blogs every single week and mailing it out to my email list for a long time. And I was getting really frustrated because if you receive an email from me in your email inbox, you don't want it to be a big, huge, long email. And so the best practices and standards were to share information, but it couldn't be this long email. But I found myself feeling like there's so much to talk about, and I felt irresponsible giving you guys information without giving you the full story. And I was getting it was bothering me because I felt like I was doing you a disservice by saying, don't eat broccoli without telling you exactly why, right? And so that's when, at that time, Kia wasn't with us. It was just me and Cindy. And we had this idea to do this every week as a way to extend the conversation that I share in my free email update that goes out on Tuesdays. And that is how Live with Holly was born. And I saw it as an opportunity to extend the conversation, to connect with you more, to make some real friends, to build the community, and just get me out from behind the computer and start having a real conversation with you guys. So therefore, here we are, 100 episodes later. I've only missed, did you turn it around again? Instagram, that's our comedy relief for you. About once a month, Cindy pulls that, which I absolutely love because I know that what you guys are seeing is this, like half her face.
You're like in the corner.
Oh my God, it is like the best comedy relief ever. So, I really see this as an opportunity to give you, whomever is watching right now, and by the way, if you're watching me right now, I hope that you will say hello, chime in, don't be anonymous. There's this weird thing that happens on live video, Facebook, Instagram. I've been guilty of this too. But there's this weird thing that happens where it's like when you see someone talking live, you get a little shy. And so I just want to say, if you're here with me now, please say hello because we really do. I kill myself trying to develop my relationship with you guys, and I want to hear from you, and I want to know about you, and I want to hear what's going on in your life and what kind of information can I bring to serve you, because that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to answer your questions, to give you access to me for free an hour every single week. That's why I'm here. I'm a wealth of information and experience, and I want to be able to help those of you guys that just want some free guidance. So that's why I'm here. Cindy and Kia are behind the cameras.
Hi.
On this very special episode. And what we're talking about today is so exciting. We're talking all about eating according to macros. So if you've been with me for a while, you know I talk about this quite a bit. If you're new to me, hi, say hello. But the reason why we're doing this episode again is because more and more, I continue to see the profound importance of getting strategic in how you're eating, okay? And when you use this approach, which we call macros, a lot of people don't really understand what it is. And so I'm taking this episode again to share with you even more details about my perspective on eating according to macros. I'm not the only expert that talks about this, but there are some communities and blogs and websites and people that talk about it a little bit differently than I do. And so what I talk about is really the very legitimate science-based evidence for why eating this way is so beyond brilliant. The more that I lean into teaching this with my private clients, the more I am blown away by what it is doing for people, to the degree that I am now getting phone calls from many of you that have some really serious, prolonged battles with health issues that you haven't been able to clear up through traditional medicine. And I have been able to really undo a lot of strange and quirky health problems using this approach to eating. And we'll talk about why that is here in this episode. We're going to talk about the basis of the science of it. I'm going to talk about why I love it so much. And I'm just going to share more information with you on what does it even mean. So even I have several of you that are in my community that have been with me for years. Many of you I've talked on the phone to. And recently I was on the phone with someone about a week ago, and it's someone I know well. It's someone who did my group coaching program, The Comeback. I've done some private coaching with her. She knows my conversation well, and she said the other day, I still don't totally really understand macros. And I was like, gosh, if she doesn't totally understand it, that means there's a lot of people that are still a bit mystified and don't totally get it. So right now, what I want you to do is tell me hello. Tell me, where are you? Are you at work? Are you laying on the couch? What are you up to? And tell me, are you curious about this conversation? And if so, what is it you don't understand? Or what is it that you want to learn today? And I will answer your questions. Obviously, I got my own stuff that I'll share with you, but I want to hear what your questions are. So when you hear, answer me this. When you hear the phrase eating according to macros, what does that conjure up in your head immediately, right? Because for some people, it might conjure up, ooh, that sounds interesting. Some people might say, oh, that's what all those like super ripped fitness babes follow. Or you might say, ooh, calorie restriction. Or you might say, ooh, my fitness pal. I don't know. I'm just curious what it brings up for you and what questions you have, because that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Jandalaria is here.
Yay, I just got your message. I saw it come through.
She said, hi, ladies.
And we may talk about that a little bit today,
It's
too.
been a lifetime. I hadn't caught you live.
I know.
Right?
We know.
Can't stay for long, unfortunately, but I wanted to jump in.
What time is it for you? Because I know the world is all having different kinds of daylight savings time changes. What time is it for you? And what have you been up to, girl? We miss you.
Hopefully she's still there. We have a happy 100 from Natalie MMN. Let's see. And then over here on Facebook, we have Michelle Walton with us. Janet's with us. She said hello.
Janet's been here since the start.
I know. Kristen. Hi, everyone. Congrats on 100 episodes. So exciting.
Thank you. Which Kristen?
Kristen Batchman.
Okay. Hi.
Lisa Mott said, "Hi everyone. I want to get back to macros. I've been trying to do keto and isn't quite working out."
Well, of course it's not quite working out. This is Lisa Mott, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Lisa, we're gonna be those of you guys.
She did ask. She's like, should we stick to 35, 30, or has that changed?
Should we, meaning
Should we
specifically for the comeback? Did she mention the comeback or no?
No.
Okay, so Lisa, and everyone, those of you guys that are in the comeback with me, the big announcement is that imminently we're going to be releasing a new upgraded strength plan called the Comeback White. And so Lisa, if you want to get back into it, regroup, come back into the group with us, come re-energize, spend a little bit more time in the Facebook group with us, because Cindy and I are going to be doing the white version. I'm going to be releasing it in probably a week. Hopefully, probably, right? I bet we could do it in a week. We're so close. We're so close. And so this is an awesome time for you to just re-engage in the comeback community. So for those of you guys that are chiming in for the first time, one of my signature coaching programs is called The Comeback. What it is it's a lifetime membership. You join into The Comeback. It's always ongoing. You can join at any time. You get a 50 plus, how many pages are we up to now? 58, 60? I don't know. The handbook is massive. You're going to get a 50 to 60 page handbook that explains everything. You get a 12-week strength plan, you get a 12-week cardio plan, you get my approach to nutrition. So you go through the 12 weeks live in the group, and then you're in the group forever. So it's a membership-based program. You get to be in it forever for one price. All you have to do is join, and then you're in. So Lisa actually, I think, did the comeback with us the first time, right?
I think so. Yeah,
Maybe
she
you
still
didn't.
she still has the original handbook.
Right?
35, 35, 30.
That's what I thought. Okay. So anyway, did I do 35, 35, 30 for the first comeback? Really? Look at how the times have changed. Wowza. So I first launched the comeback over 2 years ago, a long time, and it's gone through various updates and improvements. And where we've landed now is we have a brand new handbook for those of you guys that enroll now going forward. And Lisa, yes, the macros have changed, but here's the deal. This is so appropriate to what we're talking about today. We're talking about the science of eating according to macros. And the one thing that a lot of people understand is that eating according to macros means that you have to follow a certain numerical formula. And the truth is you don't. That's one of my favorite things about eating according to macros. What you do is you identify, for my needs and my goals, what are the ideal amount of carbohydrates that I need to eat for my goals and for my body. You set your carbohydrates, then what you do is you set the amount of protein and fat that you eat. And that numerical formula I express as 50, 25, 25 can always change based on what your goals are or what's going on with your body. And so over the years, I have probably 10 different macronutrient, what I call formulas or macronutrient edge formulas that I use for people given what their circumstance is. And that can range from a ketogenic structure, a low carb structure, a moderate carb structure, and then a high carb structure. I don't really have anybody doing high carbs really, unless it's someone who's training for a marathon and a really high-end endurance athlete. But the one that works for most people is a moderate strategic approach to carbohydrates. That is what I currently teach in terms of how many carbohydrates to eat and how do I do it. So the way that I do it is I approach carbohydrates as setting your day's calories at about 50% of your day's calories are coming from carbohydrates. And the rest of those calories are coming from protein and fat. To make it simple, what I teach is a 50, 25, 25 breakdown of calories for most people. But you can manipulate those numbers up and down based on what your goals are and what your needs are. To put it into perspective, I'm teaching moderate strategic carbohydrates at 50% of your day, as compared to a ketogenic approach teaches 5 to 10% of carbohydrates per day. They are the opposite of each other. But what's interesting is you can get equal benefits from both of those approaches. The goal is still the same, and the benefits on a medical conversation are exactly the same. The real problem is a lot of people are eating the wrong carbohydrates. So they start doing keto and they feel better. So like Lisa mentioned, she's feeling the brain fog of doing keto. Part of that is just your body literally weaning off carbohydrates, but part of that could also be there's certain carbohydrates you've been eating that your body doesn't like. And so some of the benefit that some people get from keto, in my opinion, the majority of the benefit that some people are getting in a ketogenic lifestyle is because they quit eating problematic carbohydrates. It's not that they just quit eating carbohydrates, it's that they quit eating the ones that their body doesn't like. Whatever that may be, it could be grains, it could be sugar, it could be too much fruit, it could be dried fruit, it could be sugary yogurts, it could be a million things. But often in my experience, the reason why some people get such good feelings from ketogenic is not because they took carbs out, it's because they took out the bad carbs, if that makes sense. Questions and comments?
Yes. Hi, ladies, from Vicky Hope Nash.
Hi!
Melissa Morningstar.
Hi.
Or Mel is Morningstar.
Hi.
I would say yes. It's the path to success, but it's so rigid, and you've got it on. You gotta be on it.
Interesting. Okay.
January. It's 10 p.m. here.
Okay.
I know. Just really
9
busy
hours.
and dealing with family/health issues. So haven't had a bunch of time haven't had a bunch of time and space for media. Natalie MMN. Is that okay for beginners with a lot of weight to lose?
100%.
Or is that different?
Yes.
And then H Thomas. What are the better carbohydrates?
Okay, great. I want to jump in for a minute here because I do want this episode to really serve those of you guys that are super curious about macros. So as, was that Natalie MMN that said, gotta be on it, restricted, that one?
That was Melissa Morning.
Mel, okay. So here's the thing, right? Because a lot of people do have this idea that eating according to macros means you have to be on and you have to be strategic all the time. That depends on the macronutrient approach that you're following. If you're following a ketogenic or a low carb approach, that's true. One of the biggest mistakes I see people making with ketogenic eating is they think they're eating ketogenic, but they're actually eating low carb. A true ketogenic diet is 70% fat and 20% protein. So a lot of people are doing a ketogenic diet where they're just eating lots of meat. They're eating a lot of red meat, they're eating a lot of chicken, right? You're getting protein. You're not actually getting predominantly fat. And so for those of you guys that think you're doing ketogenic, this is where one of the beauties of learning about macros really comes in. Because once you start to really look at, okay, exactly or roughly how much protein am I eating, that's going to reveal to you how many carbohydrates and how much protein and fat your body is actually getting. And let me tell you, this is the pinnacle of why I'm a fan of this approach to eating. Just like a Ferrari, if we put, diesel gasoline into a Ferrari, by the way, I don't even know what kind of gas you put into a Ferrari. Maybe you do put diesel in a Ferrari. I don't know. But follow along with me on the analogy here. If you put cheap corner drugstore gasoline into a Ferrari, the Ferrari is not going to run the way that it's intended to run to its best ability, right? So if you own a Ferrari, you're putting specialized fuel into it. And then when we really look at the real sport of automotive racing, they are seriously scientific about the fuel and the fluids and the oils that they're putting into a Ferrari because they know they're going to be able to get the best out of that machinery. Your body is exactly the same way. Depending on the percentage of macronutrients that you're putting into your body, you're programming your body for different responses. So if you're putting in a ketogenic fuel, you're going to get a different set of responses than if you're putting in a moderate amount of carbohydrate fuel. You're going to get different benefits. And that's what I love about it, because if a client comes to me and she says, oh my God, I'm freaking out. I have a reunion in 2 weeks and I have to be on the beach in a bathing suit and I'm freaking out because I don't feel good. I'm able to pull on a macronutrient approach and have her follow it, and boom, it elicits a certain response within the body that we want, right? There's pros and cons to all the ways that we're eating. The opposite is true. If someone comes to me and says, I am exhausted all of the time, I'm hungry all the time, I'm sore after my workouts all the time, and I don't know how to fix this, I put them on a different macronutrient formula because it's going to elicit different responses in your body. And what it all comes down to is, yes, you have to the part of eating according to macros, the aspect of eating according to macros that could feel restrictive for some people is the fact that yes, you have to be strategic. Yes, you do have to use some kind of tracking tool to find out, well, exactly how many carbohydrates am I actually eating? So you will need to use an app or a tracking tool or some other method to learn how much protein am I actually eating in a day. But as soon as you learn that language and you start to tweak it and you change your protein up and down or your carbohydrate up or down, that is when you start to get all of the benefits of eating according to macros. But you do have to harness the knowledge to know where you are in order to be able to harness the science and the technology of doing this. And so therefore, you definitely have to use some kind of a tracking app. I'm a huge fan of MyFitnessPal, parentheses, no, I'm not paid by them. No, I don't work with them. They don't even know who I am. I just happen to really like this app because I find it super helpful. Is the tequila hitting you?
Yeah. I am hot.
It is not hot in here.
It's really not.
That is the tequila hitting you.
Oh my God, I'm hot. I'm sweating. I'm glycerin.
You're like full on sweating, and I'm telling you, it's not hot in here.
I know.
So behind the scenes, be sure to go check out my story today on Instagram because we celebrated our 100th episode right before we went live. And I said to the girls, I said, we need to celebrate. Do you know what's in order? And in my head, I was thinking green tea, and Cindy said tequila. So Cindy did a tequila shot today in celebration of our 100th episode. And now it's coming back to bite her in the pants because she's literally behind the camera, like sweating profusely and like fanning herself. I mean, like I could see the sweat on her face. That is what alcohol does to you at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Nah, you're not going to catch me doing that. That is for sure. Kia and I stuck to the green tea.
Yeah.
You're welcome to have tequila too, but I have a
They're
feeling.
boring. And she's sweating. I'm just kidding.
Exactly. Oh my God. So anyway, tell me, what questions do you have specifically about understanding this better? As I said, the first stop is that no, here's the deal, guys. If you want to bring about change in your life, in any pillar or area of your life, if you want to change something, you need to first bring attention and focus to the thing. You need to then second, have a strategy, right? If you're kind of floating along in any area of your life and you don't have a strategy, you then are not in control of the outcome, and that might be working for you. But in my domain, health and fitness, if it's not working for you to not have a strategy, I strongly suggest you find yourself a strategy. Because the truth is, if you're gonna bring about change in your energy, your mental state, your mood, your body weight, your body leanness, if you wanna change those things, you have to employ a strategy. Because I promise, if you have not achieved something you want in this domain, it's not gonna just happen. And I hate to say that, this is where I get a little tough, but I think every now and then people are like, oh, I feel like crap, I wanna be in better shape and I wanna lose weight, but they're not doing anything about it. It's not gonna change until you change. That's a fact of life. That's not my opinion. It just is the way that it is. And so if you want to change something in your health and fitness, and specifically your nutrition, you're gonna have to put in some effort. You have to, right? So if you're gonna put in effort, you've got lots of choices on what kind of effort do you wanna put in. Do you wanna do Whole30? There's gonna be some effort there. Do you wanna do ketogenic? There's gonna be some effort there. Do you wanna go paleo or vegan? There's gonna be some effort. Bless you. You let it out. There we go. That was a good one. You're gonna have to put effort in. So yes, using a tracking system so that you can learn what are your macros is part of the effort that you're gonna have to put in on this approach to eating. Every approach to eating has a different kind of like effort that you have to put in. But eating according to macros, the first thing is you just have to bring some wherewithal to how much protein are you eating each day. And in order to do that, a tracking app is your first stop. It's the best way to start to see, okay, well, this is what I normally eat for breakfast. And you plug it in. I eat a scoop of this protein. I throw in a half a banana. I throw in a spoonful of almond butter. I throw in some spinach, right? You plug that into MyFitnessPal and it's gonna go boom. It's gonna tell you exactly how many calories are in that, but it's also gonna tell you how many carbohydrates are in that as a percentage. So it's gonna say this is 40% carbohydrates, it's 30% protein and 30% fat. And so once you have that information, then all you have to do is start tweaking it to arrive at the macronutrient formula that you're using based on your goal. Now, I am a huge, huge fan of everyone aiming for 40 to 50% carbohydrates. There are some of us that can definitely do better, can do well on higher than 50%. Cindy and I are one of them for sure. Technically, I do really well on 55 to 65% carbohydrates, which is kind of almost hard to achieve, honestly. Like I have a hard time achieving 65% carbohydrates because that means I get such a small amount of protein and fat. And so I have a real hard time doing that. It's fun because I get to eat lots of carbohydrates, but it just presents a challenge. And so not too many of us can do that, but 40 to 50% of your daily calories coming from carbohydrates is the sweet spot for the vast majority of the population. Despite all of these sexy things that you're hearing about keto, okay? We have tons of research now that shows that 40 to 50% carbohydrates stabilizes your blood sugar. We know this, okay? It is what the amount of carbohydrates that the human body actually needs to function properly. Anything less than about 40% carbohydrates, your body is not going to be functioning the way that it's designed to function. Now, you can hack it, you can trick it, you can, hack and trick it to change its metabolism in the way that it's converting calories by eating ketogenic or low carb. You can do that. But what you're doing is you're actually hijacking your body's natural mechanism and you're trying to employ this different, you're forcing a different strategy on your body. You're forcing your body into an alternate way of being. And yes, you'll get benefits from that. You will. But it's really important to understand it's not how the human body was designed. It's not the amount of carbohydrates that your liver and your brain and your adrenal glands and your muscles were really designed to receive. And so if you're having any issues with strange health issues, metabolic issues, adrenal fallout, thyroid fallout, depression and anxiety, all of these things could be, there's a lot of evidence to say it could be because you're not getting enough carbohydrates. Because when the brain and the liver don't get enough carbohydrates to do their job, you end up in trouble, big trouble, because your brain and your liver have to do their jobs, right? They have to. And the brain needs a lot of sugar. And if you're not eating any carbohydrates during the day, sure, you can free up fatty acids to create ketone bodies so that your brain can function on ketone bodies, but that's not what your brain is really designed to do. By nature, by Mother Earth herself, you were not designed to operate on ketone bodies. And we know this is not my opinion, we know this from research. Yes, you can hijack your body. Yes, you can hack your system, and yes, you can get some incredible benefits by doing that, by doing a ketogenic approach, but it's limited. You can only do it for a short period of time. Your body has a tendency to become very acidic. It's not alkaline forming. You are drastically, most people who are doing ketogenic are not getting enough nutrition because you're not getting all the vitamins and minerals because you're leaving out whole classes of foods. And so you're not getting the nutrition from so many valuable, important foods that your body needs. And so we do see a lot of problems now coming as a result of ketogenic lifestyles. So if you're one of those people who've been trying ketogenic approach, and if you're having energy problems, if you're having depression, anxiety, thyroid issues, hormone issues, digestive issues, constipation and bloating, all of these things, I would say to you, maybe your approach to eating isn't working. It's kind of logical. I've had a lot of clients call me, and I've had potential clients call me, and it always makes me giggle when someone calls. And, I've had a couple women that were, very self-righteous, very educated, seemingly knowledgeable, confident women that wanted to tell me how ketogenic is working for them. And they've been doing it for 5 years, and they got great results on it 5 years ago, and so they keep doing it. And I say, okay, so why are you calling me? Well, because I don't feel well, I can't lose weight, my hormones are out of whack, I've got all kinds of metabolic problems, I've got HPA access problems, so I'm like, okay, so maybe the ketogenic approach is not working for you, because if it's working for you, you wouldn't be calling me. You would be thriving. You would be feeling amazing. You would be looking gorgeous. You would be working out. You'd be like on top of the world. You'd feel vitality, right? If it was working for you. But the funny thing is, half the time they're like, no, I feel like shit, and that's why I'm calling you, because I need you to help me feel better. And I'm like, well, the first thing we're going to do is take you off ketogenic. And sure enough, every single time when we get them on a strategic, moderate approach to carbohydrates as I teach, everything, boom, 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 boom. The thyroid improves, the hormone levels improve, the anxiety comes down, the depression lifts. I mean, it's remarkable when I see this. So therefore, my approach is, in general, it's 40 to 50% carbohydrates. As a blanket statement, I do teach 50% carbohydrates. So on the blog today, you definitely want to go check out the blog today at hollyperkins.com/blog. And there on the blog is you're going to see why I'm a fan of eating according to macros. And I'm going to talk a little bit more of the details on this, and more specifically, if you have not yet gotten your hands on my totally free 14-page Macros 101 guidebook, go to my blog right now. It's completely free. There is a link on the blog today where you're going to be able to download and get my free 14-page Macros 101 guidebook. And it's going to teach you a little bit more about this conversation. Not only that, it's going to show you exactly step by step, this is how to do macros, and this is how you're going to get these benefits. On that note, I've had people reach out to me, many women reach out and email and share with me that they got my 14-page guide. They started using it because they didn't feel well, and they just wanted to learn how to eat better. They just wanted to improve their energy. And a really surprising side effect was that they lost 6 pounds. True story, not making that up. I've had several women say, I wasn't even trying to lose weight, but when I started eating this way, the weight fell off to the tune of 6 pounds. That's really substantial for most people. And that's because the approach that I teach helps to stabilize your blood sugar, which helps to improve all of your complex and system-wide hormones, neurotransmitters, and important body chemicals. And it also improves the natural functioning of a lot of your vital organs, like your brain, your digestive system, your adrenals, your liver, your musculature, thyroid, so many different things. Eating this way really helps to fuel them so that you're finally getting the fuel that your body needs, so that the brain is not terrified, so it can then tell the adrenals to stop stressing out. When the adrenals stop stressing out, they start sending more fuel to the thyroid. The thyroid is like, wahoo, we're safe again. Let's free up the metabolism, because your thyroid is in charge of your metabolism to a large degree, okay? And so it's this whole cascade of magic that happens simply by eating the right amount of carbohydrates. Questions and comments for now?
Kristen Marie Batman. She said, I'm trying to get leaner. I've been doing my macros for over 3 months now, and I'm feeling great. I'm wanting to add Ezekiel bread as a carb, but I'm wondering, can I use Ezekiel bread as the same way as I use potatoes and brown rice? Or should I use Ezekiel bread more sparingly than other carbs? I don't think I have any sensitivity to grains or gluten.
Okay, good. That was going to be my first question. I'm going to share something really interesting with you guys. Listen up. I love this. So as part of my coaching, I offer food sensitivity testing to my clients, where we go in and we specifically look at what's called the IgG reaction, okay? Some people have heard of an ALCAT testing. This is actually even more effective. I look at, on the blood level, what's your body reacting to, okay? And Kristen actually just kind of touched upon this. And Kristen, I'm going to answer your question. But one of the things that I think is really interesting is there is a grain baking byproduct called gliadin. And most of us have never heard of it, right? Gliadin. It's basically like, let's just call it a component that you end up getting through the baking process with grains, okay? And when we look at breads or muffins or cookies or any kind of grain that has been baked, we do have to look at the gliadin factor, okay? And so a lot of people, and I'm one of them, I actually don't have a high intolerance to gluten, but I have a very high reaction and intolerance to gliadin, which means all baked goods, even if they're baked from oats, which I'm not reactive to, give me problems because of the gliadin. And so whenever people say to me, can I start incorporating a healthy bread? That's the first thing that comes into my mind is breads and raised and baked grains are very different than when you're eating brown rice or oatmeal or quinoa, right? Because they've done a bunch of shit to it and they raise it and they bake it. So it really changes the structure of the grain. So therefore, what I say to people, and the answer to Kristen is, while you might not have a problem with grains, you might have a problem with baked goods. So you just have to find out. That all being said, I vote yes, go find out. If you're an A or a B blood type, go for it, for sure. Because A blood types tend to do really well on grains. So do it, absolutely, and you can incorporate it into your macros just like you would potatoes or beans or any of the other examples that you shared. A carb is a carb is a carb is a carb, guys. And that's one of the reasons why I love eating according to macros, because if Kristen prefers Ezekiel bread as her carb and she does well on it, awesome. I might prefer dried mangoes, right, as my carb if my body does well on it. And so that's the beauty of macros, is you get to find out which carbohydrates do you love, first and foremost, and which ones work really well for you. So Kristen, I vote, try the Ezekiel. All you got to do is scan it in MyFitnessPal so you have it. Give it a week or two and see how you feel. If you start feeling anything wonky, the problem could be gliadin, not grains, not gluten, not all of that. Okay? Questions and comments?
We have a few. Michelle Walton, your comeback is my strategy. Going to start with you gals.
Good.
Going to need that motivation.
I feel like we should start next week.
Yeah,
with the white version.
Sure,
with the white version, right?
Yes.
Or I might even start practicing with the black version. Nah. What do we decide you're doing? You're gonna keep with the white?
I want to do the black.
You want to do the black version?
Do the black.
Okay. So next week, I feel like we should do the white for a little while. To get everybody else rolling on it too.
Of course.
Okay? That's what we'll do.
I mean, just because we've already done.
I know. But
all right.
So anyway,
but we did change it though.
So here's the deal.
We're having our conversation.
Those of you guys that are in the comeback with us, we're releasing this new version called the white version. And I think what we're gonna do is Cindy and I, when we release it next week, we're gonna start it. So we're gonna be doing the white version with you guys. So we're gonna be back in the comeback and bringing more love and action there.
Yes.
So definitely, Michelle, join us. If you want to upgrade and do the white version, let me tell you, we've already tested it out for 4 months. I've been testing it, so I know it really, really, really well, and it's incredible. So what's gonna happen for those of you guys in the comeback, we're releasing the white version, and then in 3 months, we're gonna release the black version. And then after the black version will be the gold standard.
Ooh.
So we are currently going to start workshopping the black version. But I think for a couple of weeks we should do the white just to do it with everybody because it'll be fun. I mean, it's a badass program, guys. So for those of you that have not joined us for the comeback, please consider it. It's unbelievable. It is a program. It is a comprehensive, robust, unbelievably detail-oriented program. It's not just a workout community. It's not just a bunch of dumb little videos that I threw together. It is a science-based, proven technology in this program. And you are a member in the community, and the community is so awesome. So we're going to be really leaning in with some new content and some new stuff next week. Now is an awesome time. If you've ever thought about doing the comeback, do it now before the holidays get started. When you enroll in the comeback, immediately upon purchase, a screen is going to come up on your computer or your phone, and you're going to be able to download. Make a note, find out for me how many pages it is now. You don't have to do it right now, but is it 64 pages? Is it 54 pages? However many pages. It's close to 60 pages, I think. Maybe not. Maybe it's 54. I don't know. But it's a lot of pages.
I'll tell you right now.
You're going to immediately get your handbook, okay? And in the handbook is the original strength programming.
49 pages.
49 pages. Let's call it 50. Perfect. So it's a 50-page handbook. So some of the ladies that are here with me, like Janet and Michelle and the other Natalie and a bunch of people, have already gone through the original workout programming. And now we're releasing the white program refresh, which is a whole new strength training plan, a 3-month strength training plan. And let me tell you, it's not only a different plan, it's an upgrade. So if you loved the results that you got in the comeback, what this is going to do is the new white version is harder. So it's going to elevate your strength. It's going to elevate your performance, your athleticism. It's going to take you to a new level. While you stay in the comeback, you're just doing a more advanced strength training program. Like I said, we've been testing it out, and let me tell you, this thing is incredible. I mean, we really could, if I had been better with pictures with Kat, we could have used Kat as an example of what it does. You know, I mean, we might be able to. I might be able to bring together. If I take pictures of her now, I might be able. Anyway, nonetheless, I want to show you guys what it can do, because the white version, the results have been unbelievable in our testing process. So it is an up level, it is an upgrade. So for those of you guys that are in the comeback that are like wanting a new challenge, this is the challenge for you. This is a big, very serious next step in your journey. So yeah, that's the scoop.
Ann Miller said, "Hi ladies, yay, I finally caught this live."
Yay, Ann, any questions? I'm so glad that you're joining us
Amy
live.
Van Beck said, "That's awesome." Ann Miller said, "Love the 14-page guide."
Oh, good, good.
And then Kristen Backman said, "So helpful, thanks so much."
Good.
Will do.
Yes.
And Michelle Watton is excited for the new program.
And Kristen, I'm curious if you're still with us, what blood type are you? If you're an A, I bet anything you're an A, because you don't have a problem with
And then
grains.
Marissa
Anchia?
she's with us.
Hi, how are you? Do the comeback with us next week. Did you hear my announcement? Cindy and I are going to be doing the workouts again starting next week. Do it with us. It'll be a really good, just kind of like refresh for you.
Natalie MMN, trying to balance getting my macros while keeping my calories low. That's the challenge. And then she said, "Bless you" to me. Thank you.
Okay, but here's the deal. It shouldn't be a challenge, okay? Because no matter what your calories are, guys, your macronutrient approach stays the same. So it doesn't matter if you're eating 900 calories or 9,000 calories. You just eat less of each of the thing, right? So let me tell you, this is one of the things that I love about macros. This is a big one. When you are eating the macronutrient formula approach that I teach, around 50, 25, 25, okay? What's super cool is that you're able to eat more calories and maintain your body weight, okay? I'm gonna say that again. When you eat according to macros using my approach and my 14-page guidebook, Macros 101 guidebook, get it on the blog today. The link is here up above in the description of the Facebook feed. You can also get it on the link in my bio, I believe. Yes, click the link in my bio on Instagram. But when you do it my way, you're able to maintain your weight at more calories. Another way of saying that is you're able to lose weight on higher calories. So where you're doing, let's say, some other approach to eating or no approach to eating, what I have found, and this is from experience, this is working with my clients, is I got to get them down to like 1,200 calories before they start losing weight, right? Like they only get 1,100 calories, 1,200 calories. But as soon as I put them onto a macronutrient approach to 50, 25, 25, they get to eat 1,400, 1,500, 1,600 and still lose weight. So it's because you're not handicapping all of your systems and you're able to actually eat more calories and lose weight on more calories. And that's another reason why I feel and find and know that this approach is so productive.
Woods girl.
Hi.
Macros have been life changing for me.
Okay.
Being 50 and an O blood type, what do you recommend as far as macro ratios?
Yes, I love that question. So here's the deal. For those of you guys that are with me, promise me you'll go check out my Holly Perkins fitness page on Facebook. When you get there, go to the videos tab, then go to the Live with Holly playlist. Scroll all the way back to episode 3, I think it is, or 13,
Check.
which is eating according to your blood type. Okay, I did a whole live with Holly on how to eat according to your blood type. And I do basically a Cliff Notes version where I say, this is what A's need to do. This is what B's need to do. So Natalie, no wait, who are we talking to now? Woods Girl. Woods Girl, if you have the time, go check that out because it's an incredible episode. I think it's episode 3. I was at my mom's.
Yeah, I know. So I'm trying to find.
It's way, I think it's, oh no, wait.
Oh yeah, it's episode 6.
6, episode 6, what's it say? Eating,
how to eat.
Episode 6.
How to eat for your blood type.
We got to remember this. Episode 6, 66666666666. Episode 6 on Live with Holly will teach you more details. But to answer your question here now, Woods Girl, live. So for O's, here's the thing. I love 50, 25, 25 is a general breakdown for everybody. And there's a lot of strategy in that. However, as an O, generally you're able to eat more protein. So if you want to do 50, 30, I really wouldn't want you to do that actually. You could do 50, 30, 20, but that's kind of low on the fat. But O's are able to bump up their protein. So if you want to bring your protein up to 30% or even 35%, you can adjust your carbohydrates and your fat, okay? So like Lisa was asking earlier, there was a time early on in the comeback where I taught 35, 35, 30. 35 carbs, 35 protein, 30 fat. That is actually a really productive approach for O's, provided you do well, because 35% carbs is a little low. I personally don't want any of my clients going below 40% carbohydrates. So for O's, like if you came to me as a private client, I'd probably put you on 40, 30, 30, which is 40% carbs, 30% protein, 30% fat. That's great for O's. A's, it's the opposite. A's do better on less protein. So for A's, what I've been doing is 50, 20, 30, which is what I'm not an A, but I have been following 50, 20, 30. 50% carbs, 20% protein as compared to 30% protein, and then 30% fat, okay? So for A's, I go in that direction because A's can handle more carbohydrates and they can't handle as much protein. B's and AB's are right in the middle. B's are, I'm a B.
Jan Maria. I love what you said about maybe it's just eliminating the wrong carbs that is making people feel better on keto, because it really frustrates me when I hear that obviously fat ain't bad, but there are the good and the unhealthy kinds.
Exactly.
But hey, carbs are just all bad. Are just
Totally.
all bad, and you should put butter on everything.
Exactly.
But don't touch a potato.
I know. I'm so with you. I mean, and I try to be somewhat balanced in my opinions here, But that's where I get really frustrated with keto, where they're like, okay, you know, fruit is bad for you, but it's okay to eat fucking bacon all the time, right? That's a real problem for me. And I think if you wake up to a sense of like logic and reality to it, you're gonna get that too. Like, who said bacon was healthy?
No, she also said, I just feel like we have demonized the fat in the past. Now it's carbs.
Yeah.
It's carbs' turn.
It's true.
And we're going to the other extreme, and
Exactly.
we'll realize health is in the middle, and hopefully we'll choose more balance.
And that's what I mean, really, that is the premise of my next book, if I can get it written, is that pulling us back to center. Carbs, you know, are neither good or bad. Fat is neither good or bad. They're all good. We need to be in the center. Whereas in the 90s, it was all low fat. And then we swung to all protein. And then we swung to now all fat. It's like, no, let's meet in the middle. They need to be balanced. 40, 30, 30 is the ultimate balance, right? I mean, that's so perfectly balanced between your 3 macronutrients. And so I hear you. And that is my argument for those of you guys that might be sitting there like on your ketogenic bandwidth rah-rah. You can't tell me that eating coconut oil all day long is healthy, especially if it means you're not eating some fiber from whole grains or some, you know, some of the high nutrition that you get from fruit. And I also know that while a proper ketogenist would be eating lots of greens, I know a lot of you are not. And so you think you're doing ketogenic. Ketogenic is dangerous and bad for you unless you're eating a shit ton of green vegetables. And I know you're not, right? I'm going to call you out on that because there's very few people that are actually really doing ketogenic as it's scientifically been stated to be. You basically have to eat fats and greens and a wee little bit of animal protein, right? But what everybody's doing is they're eating burgers and bacon, and they think that that's ketogenic eating, and it's not. And so I'm with Januaria. It's like, how do we get to the place where like grains are so bad, but throwing a bunch of butter on more bacon is a good thing, right? It doesn't make sense to me at all. So to go way back to about a half an hour ago, we got a question on Instagram where someone chimed in and asked, okay, so what are the good carbs, right? And the truth is, another reason why I'm such a fan of eating according to macros is because really, guys, listen up. When it comes to energy creation and expenditure inside of your body, a carb is a carb is a carb is a carb. Your body does not care if it's honey or if it's mangoes or if it's quinoa. It all gets converted down to glucose anyway. But obviously, there's more nutrition in kale than there is in M&Ms, right? And there's more nutrition in a strawberry than there would be in high fructose corn syrup. And so, sure, technically, another reason why I love eating according to macros, technically, you can eat birthday cake all day long, and if you do it the right way and you macro it out, you're gonna get some great benefits. I used to eat a half a box of crackers and 3 beers a night, and I was ripped. I looked amazing because I was macroing it out, okay? So to some degree, if you wanna have the donut, plug it in, make it work with your macros, and you're gonna be fine, okay? Now, is that healthy? Is that optimally healthy? I mean, it might be emotionally healthy for some of you to allow yourself a donut, right? But when we look at vitamins, minerals, just nutrition, phytochemicals, fiber, all of those things that are actually high nutrition, sure, I want you choosing all of the healthy carbohydrates. So when someone says to me, what's the list of the best carbohydrates to eat? I would first say, what's your blood type? Because it depends on that, because I really do think that's a big part of it, because, you know, certain carbohydrates don't work for me, but other carbohydrates are fantastic. I'm trying to think of an example and it's not coming up for me right now. Corn's a carbohydrate. Corn is awful for me. Beans are awful for me.
Mangoes are bad for me.
Mangoes are bad for you? See, I can do mangoes,
They
okay.
give me tummy issues right away.
So she's an A blood type. She can't do mangoes. I can do mangoes, right? But I think all of us would agree that if we rated a mango on what we call the ORAC scale, its vitamin and nutritional and phytochemical profile, it's a nutritious food, right? So I don't care what carbohydrates you guys are eating, but we know that like fresh fruits and vegetables, dark green leafy vegetables, whole unprocessed grains that have fiber, all of that really is what we want you eating. I want you eating. Oh, and by the way, when you eat according to macros, if you eat the super healthy foods, let me tell you guys, it's like magic what it does to your body. When you combine the science of macros and you choose uber healthy foods, it's this unbelievable magic. You will watch your life change before your eyes. I'm not exaggerating. It's huge territory, and I have proven it years upon years upon years with thousands of clients. I know this is fact. It's also based on research. This isn't just this. None of this is my idea. This is all medical research. Yes.
Lisa Mott. This is awesome. I'm inspired to ditch this keto approach.
Please do.
And get back to my macros. Looking forward to the comeback.
Let me jump in just real quick. Hold there. So Lisa, what I would say is if you've been doing keto and you're not feeling well, yes, you could. Your first stop could be 35, 35, 30. Your next stop would be 40, 30, 30. But then ultimately the comeback is formally 50, 25, 25 now. I have formally made a blanket statement within the comeback that our approach inside the comeback is 50, 25, 25, but you're allowed to manipulate those numbers, any one of them by 5%. So if you want to do 45% carbohydrates, some people like O's, I will actually say you can even go down to 40% carbohydrates. So Lisa, I would say if you want to work with 35, 35, 30, go for it, but you're gonna feel better if you get your carbs up to 40% at a bare minimum.
Jennifer Ruhlman
Hi.
said, "Amen. I hate that they say that fruit isn't good for you. Bullshit. Sorry.
So
I'm
nutritious.
not saying that you need to eat 6 bananas every day, but please.
Totally. I so
why
agree.
am I going to feel bad for eating a cup of grapes or some cantaloupe or watermelon or a cup of apples because it's carbs?
It's delicious
Completely
too.
agree
Yeah.
that fruits are good for us, and well, maybe we need to lay off the bacon a little bit.
Maybe. I agree. You know, you guys, like, the highest vitamin C content is always in fruit. So it's like, how can we deem fruit as bad when we still know that an orange is one of your best sources of vitamin C, right? How can we say that's bad? Oh my God.
Ann Miller, I love this. So many people do keto, or think they do.
They think
so
they do.
tired of the excitement around it.
I know.
Lisa Mott said, okay, thanks. I'll give 40, 30, 30 a shot. I am an O.
Okay, yeah, so do 40, 30, 30.
Yes.
And then join us. So for those of you guys that have heard me talk about the comeback, every 2 weeks, forever in the comeback, I do a live coaching call for an hour every other Monday. We just had one 2 days ago. So Lisa, we'll be back in 2 weeks if you want to join us for that live call. Because as you know, 30 minutes of every coaching call I dedicate to personal coaching to the women in the group. So you have direct access to me inside of the comeback, 4 questions every 2 weeks. So Lisa, as you're getting back into it, come on in, hop on that call. Join us for the coaching call, and yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right, guys, that is it. We are wrapping it up. Cindy's pointing to the clock. She clearly needs to go to the bathroom. Right? Am I right? Am I right?
No.
No, I'm not.
But I could.
But you could. You're like my dog. I know your signals. She's like,
Hurry up. I gotta go.
So we are going to wrap it up, guys. Please visit me on Facebook, Holly Perkins Fitness on Facebook. You get to go watch 100 episodes now. I'm so proud of us. Go team.
Yeah.
Go team. I'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.